making sure. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We're continuing this meeting from our October 11th meeting. The agenda is in front of you. The only thing that needs to be changed is under old business, we're going to add back to the broadband. Do you want to do this? Yes, I'll switch the agenda.
Okay.
And I printed a whole bunch of them.
They've all been here.
Do you have an extra one?
I got an extra one.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So you're ready to talk about it? So
Yeah, especially,
so the gas pumps are first, right? What's the second?
First at 3 o'clock, we had an agenda that was all of the, from October the 11th. When we did not know what was going to be on there. At 3 o'clock today, we got an agenda and we were shown on that it was just going to be 4 public hearings to be heard once again, continued. Why is there now old business being put back for the third gyration and what?
The continuation of the last meeting and all these things were discussed at the last meeting.
Was broadband discussed at the last meeting?
It was not, but that's new. We put them off for 2 months and Dominion wants an answer yesterday. I sent an email out on that and 3 people said, okay, so we're gonna vote on it tonight.
Okay.
Okay, gas pumps are open for discussion. Allison.
Okay, so we left off with the planning commission making a recommendation to the town council for the text amendment for gas pumps.
What did we recommend exactly? We voted it down.
You did.
Okay, because I didn't understand what you said. It sounded like we voted for a text amendment.
Making a recommendation for, and so the recommendation was denial of the gas pumps.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Did you say that the planning commission denied? Yeah.
And I apologize. I've started with this, and so I'm a little buzzed just right now. So when I was listening, I thought I know what we had done, which was we voted
Yes,
it down because it was out of.
Yes, thank you.
Just to refresh everyone's memory, the way that this would be added to the code, if approved, is that it'd be added to 425-24F. And it states that retail businesses, which include retail stores and service establishments such as bakery, food shops, drug stores, and I can read the entire thing, but it's with food shops may have gas pumps as an associated use. That's the way that it was proposed.
So we can discuss it now.
Yes.
Any discussion from council?
What is the definition of food shop? Can anyone answer that for me? Because last time I checked on the car, it's like a small grocery store, not a food shop. I need to get a code. The code does include grocery stores and food shops, but can someone tell me where to find a town code? And I can have to look it up.
Yeah, I can tell you that the discussion from the planning committee, since I also am a voting member on that, we decided that there really wasn't a reason to change the code to allow anybody and everyone to put fuel pumps on the property. We figured that when the applicant came forward, if he or she had a good package and stuff like that, then we would talk about it because it would obviously require a I'm not sure if the term is a variance or a change to the code, but it would be a real time. Anybody would have to come forward with
The
justification.
recommendation is just against changing
We didn't,
ordinance.
right, we didn't want the ordinance changed at all.
Thank you.
And you do not have a definition for these uses that are identified in your code.
Right, because, my next question, would be, if we, put this in the code. Family Dollar, Dollar General, any convenience store, at food shop, whatever at this point, can go up and down, Mineral Avenue. So that I could bring in a shop right now with this code being changed and install fuel pumps to be serviced by the residents.
So do you generally classify Dollar General or Family Dollar as a food store?
I do now that they carry a bunch of food.
And you can add mineral restaurant.
I mean, exactly, I mean, because it's not defined in this ordinance. And making this change basically allows anyone to come in, doesn't matter what type of shop they are, to put food, to put on gas pumps in.
Does this request, it's not like a conditional use then added to the zoning usage? Is it just specified for this particular location, Allison?
No, it's not,
It's changing the whole code over the
it's
whole area.
changing for the entire district. So any place that had a food shop could have gas pumps.
In light commercial.
It
In
goes
that
from
district.
light commercial to commercial.
No, I said in light commercial is what
Oh, okay.
we're changing, not commercial, you already do it. General commercial, I'm sorry.
No, Mayor.
Go ahead.
So I'm looking at the public hearing notices that were put in the Central Virginia and as required to hold the public hearings back on September the 12th. And it listed 4 public hearings. The first one was the one we're talking about right now, gas pumps at the food shops. So the next one will go on, and then the 2 pertaining to the townhouse development. At that meeting on September the 12th, I made the comment to ask how these came about, because I didn't understand why these code changes were coming about. What I was told by our attorney was that it was council that was the applicant or the requester for this. Well, I take exception for that, because I don't know how council could have done it if it wasn't brought before us for a vote. So I don't think that the public hearing is right from September the 12th for these 2 code changes. And I'd like to know who the council members that authorized to make this change were, because I'm not one of them. I don't know if council did this or somebody on council did this as far as advocating and promoting what you want us to vote on tonight.
Mr. Shibby, may I answer that?
I was asking the mayor, but you may, I guess.
Okay, no, that's okay. That's fine.
No, go ahead, Andrea, because I don't know the answer.
What I recall saying was that the town or the council was the applicant for the text amendment, because I think the question was whether the gentleman who owns the Miller, was the applicant. And the way that it came about, as I understand it, and Allison can jump in, is that, I think Mr. Runnett, had talked with Allison about it and felt that would be allowed by right under the current ordinance. And it doesn't, the current ordinance doesn't really say that. And so, in order to allow something to occur in a legal way, and since we were advertising anyway, that ad was put in there. Allison, is that correct? Is that your recollection also?
That's correct.
Okay, I'd like to respond to that, and that is, Madam Attorney, I don't think that the town manager or the town mayor has the right to create legislation to be presented and proposed before council. And I certainly know that the planning commission did not propose what because they're sitting here tonight telling us that they have met on it since then and are not in favor of it. So they did not propose it. I do not agree, and I'm not an attorney, not trying to be one, but I do not agree that either Mr. Run as vice mayor or a member of council by himself can bring something forward. And what you're just describing is that's what happened, because this council never saw it, never acted on it, never authorized it to be advertised. So how can this be a legitimate public hearing? I'd like an answer to that. In fact, I requested information from you on Friday to respond to whether these public hearings have been adequately, properly, legally advertised, and you did not respond to me, and I asked for it in writing to all council members. So answer that for me.
Yeah, and I apologize, I did see your email today, and that was what prompted me to try to revise the, agenda. I didn't see it. I usually go back to early morning, and I guess yours was a bit earlier than I saw on Friday, so I apologize, but the advertisement is legal, but I think what you really mean is whether it's proper to do it in that way, and that, of course, is, for council to determine. If council doesn't want to allow this use or to consider it because it didn't go through a transparent enough process where everybody was included, then, that is within your purview to decide to do that.
Madam Attorney, I'm astounded that you can say that maybe we need a second opinion from another attorney, but you can be able to say it's legal for you as attorney or one council member to bring something to public hearing, advertise it, and to have us vote on it. I don't see how you can say that, but you're an attorney. I disagree with you.
But no, what I'm saying is that the advertisement itself is legal. There is nothing in the state code that prescribes, how a text amendment is initiated. Some localities do have rules about that. In fact, some localities do not allow citizens to initiate a text amendment. It has to come from the staff. But I'm saying that the advertisement itself, in order to enact a text amendment, that is legally sufficient.
And you said council brought that forward that night. Now you're saying it
I said-
didn't, or you're trying to explain it away. So enough conversation, but my point is, council did not participate in this and did not authorize it. So the wording might be okay that you're saying could go in the paper, but it shouldn't have been authorized to go in the paper by an attorney. Or by, no legal vote was taken. So that's enough discussion. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, I didn't
Enough
authorize
discussion,
it.
please.
I didn't prepare that.
Well,
Mr. Jarvis, I feel that there's a question that's kind of come up in the floor. And I'd like to address this. At any time, did I ask you to prepare this? When I discussed with you the question on the things, what was the comment I said? In my belief, it is by right. Because where I looked at the code, I didn't ask anyone to prepare this, but when it came up, I saw it at the same time as everyone else. And I don't have a problem with it. I agree with you. It should have come probably through all of it. But I said, I just want everybody to know how this came up. So but
You asked me to advertise it.
no, I'm saying when I asked you about this, what did I ask you? I said,
You
In
did say,
my opinion is this is by right.
and I said, my opinion was that it was not.
Thank you.
Okay, any more discussion on it?
Well, this just goes back to what I have said for quite a while is when you don't have guidelines or standard operating procedures or any type of words you want to put in, this is how things get sideways in a hurry. And if we had had some type of procedural thing, we probably wouldn't be here in terms of everybody being annoyed at this point.
The applicant put in an application. I was then told it needs to go through zoning. And then advertise it and you vote after it goes through zoning. So if it's improper procedure, then how do you address an applicant's application then? What do we need to do?
Well, let me tell you, if those of you that were here when the gas tank Anderson's just outside of the town limits were put up, the propane, thank you. The town manager looked at the rules, found that it was in right and approved it. But after that, we got a lot of comments about it. And so this council actually voted that any application that came in henceforth would go to the planning commission to at least make sure that it was following and that we could have inputs. Because as you know, when you go by Anderson, it's kind of unsightly and it would have been nice to put some type of barrier but unfortunately, we didn't have an opportunity even as,
That man.
well, that was Talia at the time. Yeah,
Was it Toledo or was it Sal?
no, I think it was Talia. And so that's why we on council voted for everything to go through. Now, there were some things that we would just be looking at and would come back and say, yeah, it's within the guidance, but it was to preclude stuff like that going on.
So if we're to vote like in line with the planning commission's recommendation, that does not prohibit the applicant from
Reapply.
applying for a conditional use permit or even reapplying for a zoning change. It just addresses this situation. There's still options open to the applicant.
Well, I would say yes, unless our zoning person who's more knowledgeable than I am.
I'd say this again.
If we take a vote and the vote is to not approve this based on the planning commission's recommendation, does that preclude the applicant from reapplying, or does it die at that point, or can the applicant reapply, or can they apply for a conditional use permit?
No, the applicant, his application would have to be denied. If this is denied, his application will be denied for gas pumps, because gas pumps aren't.
But that doesn't stop. He can always reapply, is my question.
Well, he could, but
Yeah, no. You're answering.
I mean, anybody can apply and, well, he can, that's, yeah, the year for reapplication is for rezonings,
Okay.
so.
I would only say, Dave, that we didn't really vote, just so I can make it a little crystal clear in case it wasn't. The Miller Market application we never voted on that. What we voted on was the ordinance.
No, I'm
Yeah,
very clear.
okay, okay.
And I'm fairly well aligned with allowing fuel pumps at the Miller's Market, even though I live directly across the street and I don't want to, as a citizen, I don't want them there. But I can't see prohibiting the business. I, however, am opposed to this proposed zoning change based on the planning committee's recommendation. And in that light, unless there's no other conversation, I'd like to make the motion that we deny this ordinance permitting gas pumps at food.
Second.
Clarification, one quick question before we vote on this, because we have 3 items to vote on. Is the public going to be allowed to speak at all tonight or not at all?
Not on,
Not only.
not on this, because the public hearing was closed for the gas pumps, but the other 3, the text amendment for playgrounds and the two multifamily housing projects they can speak on. The public hearing remains open.
Okay.
I also would like to clarify that it's my opinion that if Dollar General, for example, wanted gas pumps, that this does not, that Food Shops does not include that. In looking at the list in F of, and it really, it's very specific as to bakeries, food shops, drugstores, branch laundries, dry cleaning, beauty parlors, barber shops, tailors, florists, jewelry, gifts and opticians shops, hardware. And it has a list that continues, and it says restaurants, which are then different from food shops, hotels, motels, theaters, or other commercial establishments. I believe that the dollar stores and other commercial establishments.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? I'll do a roll call. Tommy,
No, I'm sorry.
to deny the gas pumps.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you motioned,
My motion is to deny this.
yes, and I seconded, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, for the denial. Okay, I'm sorry. That's,
Nate,
No, but I think a man ought to put on his land where he wants
Ed
to.
Cuby,
Yes.
David,
Yes,
Blair,
Yes.
Ed Jarvis,
Yes.
down to the second one.
I do have one quick question for Ms. Fincham. If he could reapply for zoning change at 1 year, correct? Is what Mr. Gare said? Reapply?
No, he can reapply now for a,
Can he apply now for a conditional use permit?
well,
But what I want to know is he won't be reapplying for a zoning change.
except it's not allowed by conditional use permit. We somehow need to amend the ordinance to allow gas pumps or gas stations in that district. Once it's a use allowed in the district, then he can apply to do this. He submitted a plan to,
Thank you, Ms. Fincham. I appreciate that.
all right,
Okay, so the next one's a playground.
playground. The playground is an ordinance that is with 425-15 area regulations. It is adds to the code. With approval of the town council, the playground or recreational area may be off premise. Now, I have talked to the town attorney about this. Because if you recall, when we began the public hearing, there was a question as to what the rest of this section of the ordinance stated. At the time, I thought that it was a playground on premise, as the previous code said, that was 1,000 square feet per child. That was not the correct code. It is, it says, multifamily dwellings, apartments, or other buildings that will house children will need to include provisions for a playground, green space, or recreational area, and will require the approval of the planning commission upon receipt of the plans in keeping with the town's comprehensive plan for the purpose of maintaining the town's historic image while fostering growth and maintaining a clean and healthy appearance. There is not a square footage requirement for a playground. It just simply says that there will be, that there will be a playground. The town attorney and I both believe that even without this amendment, the town council could place a condition on the application that states that the playground can be on premise or off premise. because it is general enough. It doesn't say the playground needs to be on site. That was actually taken out of the code. So, that being said, we continued this, bringing it forward to town council to clarify it. But it does not mean that if you deny it, that you still can't place a condition that allows off-premise playgrounds in the conditional use permit. The reason that I suggested this, and this did come from staff, the reason that I suggested this, first, it didn't cost any more to advertise it. So I went ahead and advertised it to give town council the flexibility, because at the time, I thought town council didn't have the flexibility to make it off premise. The reason I thought you might be interested in it was because if the applicant constructs a playground on his site, he can fence it off and not allow other children to play on that playground for liability reasons. But when I drove through your town, I noticed that you have this playground or you have a play area, a recreational area that needs amenities. So I thought that it might be a good idea to have amenities on that playground. Thereby allowing all children in the town and surrounding area to play on the playground. That's the only reason I proposed it. This can be denied, adding this to the code. But it's before you tonight in case you wanted to add this to the code. Thank you.
Any council discussion? Not on this. Public says not, it's public, for the playground or just the apartment. No, it's not the playground. Is public hearing open for the playground?
So the mayor you would need to continue the public hearing and allow people to speak now. And
Okay, so any comments? We'll open the public hearing for comments on the playground. Anyone want to address that?
Yeah, I don't. Christopher Gitter, 80 St. Cecilia Avenue, right next to the playground. I'm looking at the new agenda and materials that we provided, and that 425-15 is different than what is in the one singular extant copy of the code of the town of Mineral. There's only one code of the town of Mineral. That is the book. It's kept on file here in physical form. And if that isn't in that book, that's not the code, I'm sorry. So that means someone is trying to suggest that there are revisions to codes and ordinances floating around somewhere. There's one copy of the legal verifiable ruling singular, however you want to call it. There's one set of rules, one set of laws this town makes. And it's stated in that physical copy. It doesn't matter what's on the website. It doesn't matter what's in your emails. It doesn't matter what's in your memory. If it's not in that physical copy, it's not the law. So that's not in there. I asked for a physical copy recently.
Are you referring to section B where it says number 1 for residential lots? And it gives the amount of square foot.
425-15, it seems to me, is different.
Well, no,
Well, what she's showing us as
Yeah, I
going to be 425-15 is
I
different
agree.
than what's in.
This is what I have, and I see what's missing, which is under section B. That's what I'm
Right.
asking.
Yeah, right, they're not the same. So there's only one of those that is the law in this town. And it's what's in that book. It's not whatever she's trying to say came out of somewhere. I mean, that's an easy thing for all y'all to make sure of. We have one set of laws in this town. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? You want to say something, Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah, you go first. If you're
So, I wrote the code in question. I followed all the rules on writing the code in question. I brought it here. The council approved it. And the only thing that happened, it seemed, that you're disagreeing with is it didn't get in that book. If that's the only thing that's wrong, continue this thing another month, put a new copy in the book will be right, and we won't have this argument over stuff that was written in '88, which is not what was approved.
Well, and everybody knows the code hasn't been updated since 2016, so you can't blame that on the manager/mayor.
Bernice Cubey, 90 Mineral Avenue. Bragg Adams gave that playground to the town of Mineral. She did not give it to the town council. She gave it to the people of the town of Mineral. She did not give it to you. You have no right to say anything about it. The other thing is, if they don't codify the code, that's on them.
Okay, Nancy. I guess for the record, we need to state the names. I'm sorry, I didn't know that for the end.
Nancy Thomas, 44 Louisa Avenue, and I'd like this to be included. I'm compelled to voice my concerns as a 34 resident adjoining property owner and citizen of the town of Mineral. First notice of the conditional permit came to me the Thursday prior to the September joint meeting. No information was provided until the meeting. None was available earlier in the day. The second meeting was canceled with no notification. The third meeting was a no starter. Even with all this confusion, it is obvious that this is being pushed as quickly as possible, which makes me wary of the voters involved concerned. I am not convinced the neighborhood or town's best interests are being considered. Are the various requirements being changed to suit this project? Specific concerns. Properties should have their own playground for the safety of children due to the danger of crossing St. Cecilia, particularly during events. Prior to the last attempted meeting, the zoning lady, I didn't know your name, said the new code included no square footage. 2, curbing is needed to block the already big drainage issue for the Thomas and Clemens property. 3, St. Cecilia is in poor condition. Further traffic, cars pulling into and out of the apartment parking area, buses, and garbage trucks will only make matters worse. 4, the dumpster truck will empty at the back of the school lot, thus creating garbage cocktail juice running into or onto the Warlick and Thomas properties. A secure fence and greenery should be required to block grandstand views of adjoining homes. 6, will lighting be obnoxious? 7, what are setback requirements? School lot has buildings from 5 to 26 feet from adjoining land. How can we be assured that the properties will be maintained? Will they sell to a tempting offer and leave the neighborhood with another mess? In summation, what's the rush? If you don't want a town manager until after the election, why not wait for this to be studied more carefully? The town has done nothing to force the property owner to secure the corner house, including buzzards. The town has also failed to press Mr. Morgan vigorously to rid the neighborhood of the pest-ridden pile of trash and falling down water pit boiler building. This is all about money. Well, that landowner already owes the town a pile of money. Additionally, it has been brought to my attention that measurements were taken to see if St. Cecilia can be widened, and the comment was that land would have to be taken from the Harlan Clemens property because the boiler building is in the way. Really? Other locations would be more suitable for apartment buildings. The property behind the shopping center is for sale and advertising or just that type of use. I know we want the town to continue to grow. Why not build attractive and affordable houses in this neighborhood instead? There is no going back after the deed is done.
We're talking about the playground though.
Yes, we are. That is included.
Anyone else have playground comments? So we'll close the public hearing on the playground. So, council, have any discussion?
I think you have as well on the playground. As, whatever, public knowledge stated, the current playground we have does not belong, it does belong to us, but it was given to the residents. We do not do the upkeep, we do not put the equipment in there that belongs to, Louisa County. If we do change this ordinance, we have additional land that, where that cemetery is that we, that has been talked about in the past, that it's been overgrown. That you know what I'm talking, I can't remember the name. That's been overgrown, there's additional land over there. That would be a great place to put any of this playground area that that's in his plans, that would help out for kids in that area. I mean, right now, everyone's driving to a little field. Why not spread out some? We got a park over there from what I informed. It just needs work on. How about putting playground area over there?
Any more comments?
What's the planning committee? I'm sorry, did I talk over someone?
I was just gonna, just point, the town of Mineral does own the playground. The county of Louisa, because it was placed by each and every district except for one, a playground was placed by the Board of Supervisors. And the county of Louisa, Louisa County Parks and Recreation is responsible for the upkeep of that playground.
We have another spot where we can.
I agree with you. But I did want to comment on something, is that Ms. Cubie brought up, it was donated by GRAC for the citizens, and that it just, again, being the one that's kind of been here all my life, it was given for the school. She and some of the Kiplingers, which were cousins, wanted to make sure that there was a playground for the children and for the school. At any time, and you can correct me if I think I'm right on this, Bernice, at any time it ceased being used as a school property, it became a public playground for by the town of Mineral, for the town of Mineral and the citizens of Mineral and the children.
If it ceases to be, if it ceases to be existing for that, it will return to the property.
To the GRAC and the Davis, yes, the Davis family. That was it. But anyway, so you guys know where this came from. And the original school was built 1910, burned, and then was rebuilt in 20. So, and there's a big write-up on it, but it was to make sure there is a playground here for the citizens and their children. And the last but not least, there is a playground on this side of town that I'm not a member of that church, but I see the neighborhood children going to the playground at the Methodist church.
Yeah, I am a member there. They are more than welcome.
So,
I mean, my kid goes there.
no, I just, yeah.
So Dave, to answer your question, we in fact looked at this ordinance and also decided not to make any improvements on it. But in getting the feedback that we got from Doc Thomas's wife about the runoff, we actually re-looked at the applicant's application and inserted the playground requirement in there until tonight, when we just heard that there was no per se square footage. So
Okay, so I think just repeating what was already said to us, so if we were to vote tonight not to approve the change to this ordinance, that does not preclude the town from making requirements of the developer to either add green space or whatever, a playground. My point being this, I'm very much in favor of the developer developing his property. I'm just not sure I'm in favor of changing our ordinances when we have other avenues to enforce the change.
agree.
Any more discussion? Anyone have a motion?
So I'll make a motion that we leave the ordinance as written without adding, in this case, number E.
So you move to deny the ordinance as proposed. Okay, thank you.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? We'll do a roll call vote. Snake,
And what is?
delete it as written,
It is what?
means to deny the ordinance permitting, is that the one, number two?
Yeah, number two.
Deny the deny this ordinance permitting off-premises playgrounds.
Denied from all premise, no.
Okay, Ed Cubey,
Yes.
David Lawson,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Ed Jarvis,
Yes.
Tommy Running.
Yes.
Healthy family dwelling.
Big glasses on, Jackie.
Sorry. The planning commission did not
No, we did not.
make a recommendation on this.
We met, and have discussed it quite a few times, made a decision not within a public meeting.
So planning commission needs to make a recommendation on this.
Planning commission does not have a quorum.
Planning commission doesn't have a quorum tonight.
You hear that, Andrea? The planning commission doesn't have a quorum tonight to make a recommendation.
Yes. I thought that they had already made a recommendation. I thought they met and made a recommendation.
We met, we made recommendations to indicate what we thought, but we did not do that under the umbrella of a public hearing. So we did not have input from the public to make our final vote.
Well, I think, let me just throw this out. So when we did have the last public meeting, we did get input from individuals, in this case, Doug Thomas's wife, about, she, of course, was concerned about runoff, and she thought it would be a good idea to have the playground. The question was where did the 1,000 square feet per child come in? And so when we had a meeting at the planning commission, we talked about, okay, based on the feedback about kids crossing the street and the washout from the runoff, do we want to now put on that the developer do a on-site playground? And we all agreed that that was probably something we should look at. And then we talked about the mathematics behind how big of an area should that be, because until tonight, we thought there was 100 square feet and 1.5 children per family, according to the Census Bureau. And that's how we had come up with a 1,400 and I don't know, what it was 50 or 1,475 square foot. And so we had put that back into it, and we did vote that we were happy with that.
We also addressed runoff in terms of paving and thought that permeable paving, we wrote in our notes that the council to consider permeable paving.
So the planning commission actually participated in the last public hearing that we had here.
But we did not discuss this in the last public hearing.
So, the town attorney, Ms. Gerard, they voted prior to the close of the public hearing. So is that okay to vote prior to the closing of the public hearing? Because they voted in their last meeting and the public hearing was continued to tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing conclusive on that point. I think you could argue that by voting that de facto closed the public hearing. I think the important point is that there was a public hearing advertised and conducted. So I think that if council wanted to proceed tonight, council could. In the alternative, if you wanted it to be 100% squeaky clean, you could start over and do it all over again.
So you voted to deny this ordinance, and the town attorney has stated that that's legally okay, but it's your choice.
To deny which ordinance.
So we're still on this ordinance, and I'm just making sure that this is all to form here.
Well, the playground we've already voted in. Denied.
You
Right.
voted, but then it dawned on me that the planning commission didn't vote prior to you, but now they said they voted in their meeting.
Yeah, we did vote in our meeting because we took the opportunity when there was a motion to take another 30 days. We had a meeting to address not only both of the ordinance, but we had already approved the townhouses, but then because of feedback, we came back and said, well, initially we said we're okay with him using the playground across the street. And so we were going to leave it to council to decide whether you were going to have him participate with the playground that's already there, or you were going to make him do his own.
And you can still do that.
Yeah, so I know we've had some good discussion, but I feel like without a formal recommendation from the planning commission, we're not in a position to vote tonight. We owe the developer a speedy.
If the planning commission voted, that is a formal vote.
Right. So their
Not what I
recommendation,
heard.
they made a recommendation. The public hearing is continuing till tonight, but their recommendation is that
No,
they have made a recommendation on this.
no.
You
We
have
haven't.
not made a recommendation.
That's what I heard.
What we did in our meeting prior to the public hearing is we said,
I thought Mr. Snyder said that they voted on it.
we did,
Right.
and this is what we voted.
What was the vote? What was the motion?
He's trying to get Lynn.
It was unanimous that we saw nothing wrong with this, but it did not meet the requirements of the code and that we would have to say no and then hand that on to you. This was separate.
Mrs. Snyder?
Yes.
I'm having a hard time hearing you. Come a little closer.
I can use that other word. So what happened is we looked at the code, we looked at the application, and we felt that everything looked good. The only problem we had was a lack of playground shown on the plot. And so our vote was denial based on that, knowing that the council then could, because the planning commission don't have the ability to say, hey, you want to move it across the street? We had to go based on what the code said and what the application was. So we voted no, this is back in.
So this was, wait a second, folks.
Yeah.
Let me stand up and get a little air here. So when we had the first meeting, the planning commission had a meeting and we didn't even discuss whether he needed a playground or not. Our discussion was we were okay with the townhouses and we were punting it to the council to decide whether they were going to have him do the playground across the street and offer proffers, which we wouldn't have been involved in that, or whether you're going to, in fact, make him put a playground on the property. And then when things got kind of sideways and we postponed it 30 days, then we went back, had our meeting. We decided the two ordinances we were not going to change. And we did talk about the property. And then we decided, based on the two inputs about the kids crossing the street and the water, we inserted back in that it's okay, except to add the playground on his property. And here's the size based on what we thought was a requirement of specifying specific per square foot until tonight. So even if we take the square footage off it, I think unless I'm speaking out of turn, we made a decision for him to have a playground on the property.
Okay, so denial of the text amendment. Denial of the text amendment, but it sounds like approval of,
Well, that's how I remember. I mean, I don't want to,
The council
is,
has voted on the text amendment for the gas station and voted on the text amendment for the playground.
correct,
So what we're talking about now is the first of the two conditional use permit applications that Mr. Williams submitted,
no,
correct?
because I stopped. And after the motion, after the vote, I stopped
After the vote,
and realized that we hadn't gotten the recommendation from the planning commission
on the playground,
on the playground text amendment, so it was denial. And so I just wanted to make sure that town council knew planning commission's recommendation, and that they had indeed done that prior to finishing this issue. So we're still on the text amendment to the playground. But town council has denied that.
no, we're done with the, no, we're done with the two ordinances, period.
Right,
We're now discussing the applicant
okay,
for the townhouses.
okay.
And our recommendation coming up was that he had to provide a playground. And we had specified the size until you dropped that mic on us saying that there wasn't a prescribed square footage.
Right. There's-
So we need to have a public hearing for the family dwellings, multifamily dwellings, right? Now.
Right,
Okay, so I'm gonna open the public hearing to discuss the first, will you do them together or you want to do them separate? The first multifamily dwelling, which is that's the 9 townhouses. Anyone from the public have comment? Yep, and I'll give you 3 minutes, please.
Christopher Gare, 80 St. Cecilia Avenue. I'm just amazed. I can't understand how the law says this is local mineral code and Virginia Commonwealth. You all took an oath to uphold the laws of the Commonwealth. State law and local law that says there's one copy of the laws of the town. What you guys are referencing are not in my copy. How can you explain that?
I can explain very well, Chris. Somebody didn't do their job and put it in the code book.
Okay, I can understand I appreciate your explanation.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. We did vote. There was a
Doesn't
record.
matter. What I'm given, it is what every citizen in this town, the same thing that they get to look at and determine what are the laws that govern me and my family and my neighbors and the businesses and everything else. It can't be arbitrary.
Well, I agree with you. And what you were given was not the correct book. I'm afraid to tell you that.
Whatever I am given when I walk into town hall and say, I would like to see the town code. It has to be there by law, and when whatever state that it's in, when it's given to me or any other citizen, that is the law of the town.
And I agree with you, but it was not updated on these things that were properly had a public hearing on.
I understand.
We
It hasn't been
voted.
updated. It hasn't been updated for 11 years.
No, that's not true.
It is.
No, that version you have is incorrect.
Can I have the correct version?
I'm gonna assume it's this one, but it's not.
Okay.
Is it what
So
she has? Is it
as
what
a
I have?
council member, I
Or
don't
is it
have
an
an
apples and apples stuff? The law says every citizen has the absolute right to go into town and say, I want to see the current copy of the code of the town of Mineral. I'll come in tomorrow.
And I have the state code of Virginia here that states the town has to have an accurate code. And if they don't have an accurate code, whether Mr. Parsons has this information at home or not, it's not accurate. I'm just using it as an example. Okay,
This is a country and a state based
You
on.
agree.
the
I'm
rule of
just
law,
using
not
this as
the rule of man.
so, I'm just using it as until
It's what is written.
the book is 100% accurate in this office, we cannot be voting on this because it's not accurate. I don't know what the real codes are.
I do, it's whatever I go in, it's whatever I as a citizen walk in and say, I have a contract with my town, right? I have a contract.
Okay, so time's up.
I can't see that.
It's not up to date. 3 months ago, when I came in to take over and interim
It's
manager,
been 11 years.
I started updating the code and got.
Okay, hey, guys, okay. Mr. Care, please. Okay, no, Mr. Care, thank you.
What was my looking back at my shirt to try that a little bit, try kindness a little bit.
Why don't you?
Pretty good.
Tired of it.
Mineral Avenue. I would like to bring to your attention and the public attention what I believe are severe conflicts of interest regarding the townhomes in Mr. Williams. I have nothing to do with you, Mr. Williams. I'm not against your development. However, first, the mayor should not be voting in any way, shape, or form. She is currently a defendant in a civil lawsuit. I have the number if you'd like to see it, with the Commissioner of Highways. The law firm of Craig and Williams is representing her, defending her. Second, I'm sorry, Tommy, but you want the same thing across town. You've got to advertise in the MLS. You want prime development parcel for apartments and townhomes. They call it Tommytown. I'm sorry.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
conflict of interest. Because once this project and the exceptions to it are made, if approved, will set a precedent for any other developments in the future, including yours. Third, I question Mr. Williams if he has the town's best interest at heart. We have a historic home that could be renovated. You can put townhomes anywhere you want to. There's a historic home next to that. You can laugh at it, say whatever, it's on the list. Has historic resources been called about the rehabilitation of that house? I seriously doubt it. I'm not against development, but it should be done the right way. Council has not listened to the people. This project adversely affects definitely the people that are adjacent landowners. There needs to be a study for water runoff and traffic. There has been no advertising done in the newspaper. Nothing was posted on the board outside the town hall. This has not been advertised properly, people. The people that got a notice 1 to 2 business days before this meeting. That is not right. What is the mad rush to get through this? To push ahead in development in this town with minimal public input from the planning commission or the property owners of this town. Shame on you.
Anyone else?
Oh, I'd like to address mine. My property has been in the MLS for approximately 2.5 years now. It's been in there. I've not hidden it. And you as a licensed real estate agent and your husband is a licensed real estate agent and by the state of Virginia. Well, he's got Lake Anna Realty on his tag. So if you want to bring this up, it's my property. Yes. And if you didn't bring up, I do want to bring this up. The commercial and A1 is in the county of Louisa. The parts that they.
The town will be willing to annex it. How do you know that?
Who said that?
Mr. Dickinson in this.
That's not,
Okay, people.
no.
Tommy, let's let Olivia.
MLS.
Bernice, time's up. Olivia.
Olivia McCarthy, 201 West Third Street, and to start this off, as a member of the community, I will be providing this written statement in a PDF format to all council members. I formally request this statement be added to the official record by including it in the meetings for the minutes or the minute meetings for this meeting tonight to reflect my public dissent of the proposed actions hereby discussed during this meeting. So I will be sending that to all of you to read as well after the meeting. That's basically what that means. And I would like for them to be officially added to the public record along with these minutes. Esteemed council members and gathered citizens, in the documentation provided regarding the single use permit, it states, whereas the Mineral Town Council finds that the request for a conditional use permit by GWI Properties LLC and MII Investments for multifamily dwellings
continue will not adversely affect the health, safety, or welfare of persons residing or working on the premises or in the neighborhood, will not unreasonably impair an adequate supply of light and air to adjacent property, nor increase congestion in the streets, nor impair the character of the district or the adjacent districts. We are a historic district and this property is included in that. So in what way are we ensuring that the historic quality of that district is not being impeded by this development, considering the fact that there is a historic home that is on the property? That doesn't seem like that is something that has been researched by this council or by this proposal. Additionally, on what basis have these things been determined? Has there been a traffic study or a DEQ conducted in order to ensure that the health, safety, and quality of life of the residents who actually live in Mineral, not Louisa, are not going to be negatively impacted by this development? Has Mineral conferred with the Louisa County or any other body to ensure that the development does not put undue strain on the town water supply, as has been an ongoing concern and come up recently in discussions by this council? Mr. Williams has demonstrated a profound lack of care for the community of Mineral by the abysmal state that the property in question has been in for the past 6 years. And now we are all gathered here to discuss not changing town ordinances anymore, but this was written before you guys voted. That apply to all qualified property owners in order to accommodate the building project of the same man that has left a prominent property in the town in such disrepair for so long. This proceedings seem ludicrous considering these circumstances. I have been provided no additional information about the studies requested in order to ensure that the impact of this building is not going to be detrimental to the community. It feels like this is being rushed and forced through at the last minute by a council that only has 2.5 months left. And I question the motives for that happening, and I don't know how it initiated or why it initiated now, but the context of everything and the lack of preparation and actually considering the impact that this is going to have on these systematic things that we already as citizens know are problematic, like our water system, is concerning and makes me start to question the integrity of this town council. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? I'm gonna stand. Can I state your name and your address, please? Rebecca McGee. I live 714 St. Francis. I'm going, once again, my comments on being kind. Some of you people don't know how to do it. The rally for kindness has been rescheduled. It's at the high school on the 26th, which is Wednesday at 8:45, I think. I suggest y'all go and learn how to be kind for these kids. Mr. Williams, I apologize to you for the actions of some of these people. And I apologize to the rest of y'all for some of the actions of these people. Anyone else from the public?
Ron Chapman, 605 Mineral Avenue. I agree with Becky. I think that we should all be apologizing to each other for the conduct. It's late. I think it's embarrassing. That's just my opinion, but I also have the opinion that we are trying to rush through something that we have not thought out. So I would ask that this town council take a moment, back up, realize what you're voting on. No traffic study has been done. Our water system can't handle the residents we have now. So let's add more. We need to study this and know what we're voting on.
Anyone else? No, then we'll close that public hearing. Do you have any comments, Allison?
No, we just heard that the planning commission has made, would you like to?
Planning Commission did not approve either of these based upon not meeting any or indicating any need or indicating any green space, playground, play area. That was the one thing.
So it's now back to the town council.
So, council discussion.
Well, considering my site is not the best anymore right now, and I was using some of the forms that was given to us in the packets from September and everything, being able to look at the prints and everything. One of the things that I noticed is that the dwelling size, they're listing 3,493.7 square feet. That's for one floor. If you multiply it times 2 floors, it comes out to 6,987 square feet, 0.4. Then you add the patios, which is correct, which is 570 square feet, the front porch is 128 square feet. By their numbers, they're saying the house size is 4,197 square feet, 0.7. My numbers that I'm getting are that they are 34,000. The dwelling size is 6,987. You add the patios and front porch, it's 7,691 square feet, which basically gives me 457 square feet, which is not in compliance. At least according to my code, my book, it compliance to the 425-15 B 1. If I get the right one, I don't even know if I did the right one, that could have been like 4 units, not versus the 9. I did calculations on the 9 as well. They're still not in compliance. Neither one of them, because they're only doing the first floor on both. Ordinance, or with,
They do only count the bottom floor, the foundation is what the.
no, not according to the code that I have here. It says. We're permitted to use other than, sorry.
No, I mean, what Blair is bringing up is the same thing that Mr. Greer brought up, is somehow, I don't know, but all the work that we've done over the last 2 years and changing code did not make it into the master book, and therefore, what I'm being told is, sorry, you gotta go with.
You gotta go with, according to the Code of Virginia, you have to go with what it says. The Code of Virginia is the overall law over the town of Mineral Code.
Mayor, the attorney is reporting she can't hear us any longer.
I did have a question. According to the plans, I don't have plans sitting in front of me. What is the ground floor square footage?
Ground floor square footage on which one, the 9 or the,
Either or.
okay, for the one that I have in front of me, it's for the 4, I believe it's for the 4 square footage, 4 dwellings, it's 3,493.7 square feet.
For one floor.
No, yes, for one entire floor. Buildings 1 through 4.
Oh, wait a minute. It's for the 4 units you're saying.
All 4 units. It does not comply with what is in my book.
Copies of all the site plans, I made 4 or 5 copies.
And the way I'm looking at it right now, we should get this code updated before we make any additional, I mean, if I were to make the motion right now, it would be that we stop rushing this and get the code book up to date so that we can be in compliance, so that we can vote on whether having these houses.
And what did I ask you a month ago to help me do? Okay, anybody else? Council have any more discussion?
I do. So looking at the package here for item number C, which is the first one of the 2 conditional use permit applications on GWI. By getting colors. This is taken, no reflection on the applicant whatsoever. And I find it very difficult to understand that this ordinance that's being presented to us tonight is telling us, and I want to read the first sentence and then the second paragraph. In the first sentence, if we're considering this, the drafted ordinance says, whereas the Mineral Town Council has conducted a duly advertised public hearing saying that the Mineral Town Council says it's been duly conducted. I objected in September at the meeting saying it was not reasonable and it wasn't, and again, I'm not an attorney and our attorney will differ with me and say it was just fine. However, I know that I heard person after person, adjoining property owners and public and other interested parties telling me that they came by here to look at the information on the application, having been told in the newspaper that the full file and the information was available for the public's review. Adjoining property owners and the public have every right to be able to see what's going to be discussed when it may affect them. And they have an opportunity then to be able to decide whether they agree or disagree with it, whether they approve it or not. And when you don't have it there, as you say in your announcement, I cannot see how that's a legal public hearing. So therefore, on Friday morning, about 5:30 in the morning, I wrote an email to our attorney and asked her for a written explanation back to me and to town council as to whether these public hearings were held properly and legally. And she did not respond to me. She didn't call me, but I asked for it in writing. She didn't put it in writing, which makes me have to wonder why she didn't put it in writing. And since she didn't put it in writing, and I don't think that the information that the public hearing announcement said were in fact truthful, that the information was here for anybody to use during that advertisement period before the public hearings were held. Heck, I didn't even get anything until either Friday afternoon or the night of the meeting, so I didn't have time to review it as a council member. Planning Commission was told the same way, and we had to have a joint public hearing on this. I don't know I do not understand, have not understood what the importance and emergency was to do a dual joint public hearing on something like this. And that property has been in not very safe condition to look at it. I've had plenty of people around the Little League to complain about the condition of it for years. But suddenly it became an emergency and suddenly we had to do it. No reflection on Mr. Williams, but who drove and why was this driven to a public hearing? And I, as one, cannot truthfully and with good conscience say and vote for, whereas the Mineral Town Council has conducted a duly advertised public hearing. I don't believe that was duly publicized. I'm not going to be put on the responsibility of saying that not our attorney or not our staff saying that it was done properly. I'm going, as a Mineral Town Councilman, be asked to say that it was duly advertised. I'm not going to be responsible for that. So that won't happen. But even more, when I read the second paragraph as crafted by someone, it says that this request will not adversely affect the health, safety, or welfare of persons residing or working on the premises or in the neighborhood. It will not unreasonably impair an adequate supply of light and air to adjacent property, nor increase the congestion in the streets, nor impair the character of the district or adjacent districts, nor be incompatible with the comprehensive plan, nor be likely to reduce or impair the value of the buildings or property of surrounding areas. So again, saying that whoever wrote this felt that it was not going to do anything adverse to the adjoining property owner's value, but that such establishment or use will be in accordance with the comprehensive plan for the town of Mendel. Just with that alone, I don't know how, again, as a council member, I have seen no study. I've not heard of a study being done, not on traffic study, not on the fact that this is going to impact the properties adjacent to it and all. So who did a study? And if it wasn't done, how can we attest to that? I think that's far-fetched. I have no objection that I'm expressing against what is proposed to do. I'm saying that it's pushed too fast, that the normal process by the state of Virginia is to have a planning commission independently hold a public hearing, consider what they want to do, come to an understanding, make a recommendation to the town council. And then the town council hold a public hearing and do the same. And the state gives you, as I've been reminded by attorneys and others, the state gives the legal system and the government a year to consider something if they want. So to me, that means they're tending through the state code to say that studies should be done and background and research and all should take place. So they let you stretch it out as long as it's necessary to come to a reasonable and appropriate decision. But this is taking it to the exact extreme opposite. This is saying, now forget all that. Suddenly you have an application and now we've got to decide, have a joint public hearing, throw the planning commission in together with the town council and together listen to it and then ask the town council, town planning commission to tell us, how do you feel about it? And then, of course, the council doesn't have to because that's only an advisory. They don't have to take it. So in all reality, it's kind of a farce to say when you have a joint public hearing that planning commission is being respected to give a viewpoint at all. They're kind of just here as, you know, window dressing. So all that said, I believe that to write something up like this and say that council has done all these things, I would caution the council members to be willing to vote that they do that. And again, if this is brought about in a reasonable manner through a normal process, it might fly with a 6-0 vote, and it might still go to the 6-0 vote. I can't tell anybody how to vote, but why the rush? Why the importance? Why the no studies done, and why for joint meetings? It just astounds me that the town of Mineral can conduct its operations like that. I don't think you'll find counties or larger municipalities ever think of doing something like this.
Anybody else on council have any comments? No more comments? Someone have a motion?
I'll wait. Somebody else to talk.
I motion that we have, that this piece put off, that we do some studies, so that we get more information, the public gets more information, and their fears are relieved when it comes to traffic and environmental when it comes to DEQ. Getting their information, their input on the environmental, aspects of the ground, of the water wash off and everything.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
How long are you proposing? I mean,
How long are we gonna make this man wait?
I don't know how we study this, that's
We got a motion, we gotta do a vote, so. we'll do
that's,
that.
I don't know how long it's gonna take them to do it, so, it could take, DDOT, as far as I know, a month. It could take them 2 months, I don't know, because from my understanding, from talking to other, town council members and previous council members and, mayors, that this town has never done a study when it comes to VDOT traffic, when it comes to, environmental with the DEQ, when it comes to groundwater, runoff.
Okay, so motion's on the floor, let's do a vote. The motion is to put it. Yes, ma'am.
It's appropriate to have discussion on a motion.
Okay, but they're just repeating themselves over and over. So any more discussion? Okay, no more discussion, so we'll do a vote. This is to put the study off.
Put the study off?
No, to have a study by VDOT.
Yeah, put off for a study.
Correct.
I can write it down so everyone knows what you're voting on.
ATV,
Yes.
David Lawson,
No.
Blair,
Yes.
Ed Jarvis,
Yes.
Roy,
No.
Tommy,
No.
3 yes, 3 no. And I vote no also.
My next motion is that we deny this. So that we can get a study, because the townspeople has stated they want studies. And from the sound of it, from talking to townspeople, especially those in that area, they are ready. As well as others in other locations of town, placing the lawsuit against us.
All I
Because
did
no
was-
studies have been done, we have nothing at this point to prove that this information is 100% accurate. We have nothing to prove that, DEQ can state that there's gonna be, less water runoff in Miss Thompson's, yard, in any of the adjoining, residences in that area. We have no traffic study stating how bad the traffic is going to be. Because, you know, during Little League season, when it comes to any of the, softball season or tournaments and such, that area is congested.
Okay, deny apartments. There's Blair made a motion. Is there a second?
Thought I did second.
No, this is another.
This is another one.
Oh, excuse me. This is the motion to deny.
To
Deny this.
Not to put off the study, but now, I mean, not to do a study, but now to deny them totally.
I would second that for the purpose of discussion.
Okay, discussion.
Do have a discussion. If this fails, does that mean it's automatically approved?
No,
Okay, that's just had that question. Before we went and voted.
So since we're in the discussion phase, I'm wondering if there's a better alternative instead of just outright letting it fail. If we say kick it down the road after new council gets on here, that'll give time because with us going into holidays, I'm not sure how many studies are gonna get kicked off.
With that 100%. I'd like to make a motion to amend my motion to kick it down.
What's the motion?
well, hold it.
Okay.
Your motion was to deny.
We're having a discussion, correct?
Having a discussion, and I'm redoing my,
She's amending
We've
it.
already had a second, we gotta follow through.
Yeah, you gotta follow through,
Right.
deny the
But-
apartment.
No, you can, excuse me, you can withdraw your motion if the person who seconded agrees.
Did I second that?
Yes.
Yes, you did.
Thank you. So what are you asking me? Do I want to withdraw my second?
I want to
Amend.
I want to be
You want to withdraw your motion and start over.
correct, and have it kicked down to the, next, to the new town council. So what, Councilman Ed Jarvis stated about having it moved to a later date. And I would say January,
You know, y'all not even giving this man a fair chance, because I know what's gonna happen in January.
what's
I mean, the good old boys are gone.
Yeah.
As you referred
You know
to
what?
one time, the good old boys are gone.
this is not a 10 for a good old boys club.
I know it, but you were the one started the good old boys club.
That's how it's been.
Okay, so we're gonna keep
Okay.
discussion on the topic,
I-
which is right now, move the decision. She made a motion. Is there a second?
I would like to.
What,
Ed did not agree,
Ed
I'm sorry,
has agreed on
but
that.
Ed did not agree to allow her to rescind, I think we need that
Yeah.
first.
You asked to withdraw.
Withdraw or rescind my motion so that we can, make a motion
I agree to remove your motion.
to go with what Ed Jarvis, there's Ed Jarvis, moving it to a later time. And I'm saying, 2 months.
So you want to table it for 2 months is the motion?
Yes.
I would recommend that you put a specific date in.
So that's January meeting.
That's when everybody's getting sworn in. That's probably not a good day.
December 9th, January 9th.
Thank you.
Okay, that the motion is to table until January the 9th meeting. Is there a second?
Sure, I'll second it.
Any discussion? All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Blair,
Yes.
Ed Jarvis,
Yes.
David,
No,
Ed Cubey,
Yes.
Roy McGee, Tommy Ryan.
no.
It's a tie and I vote no.
Right.
So,
I do have a piece of discussion while we're on the subject of this is, and this is just for my clarifications, when we had the Journey Home, which is on the adjacent piece of property, which is multifamily, was that done as a conditional use or was that done through, the same process? Because I was not on council when the Journey Home was approved. But it is multifamily and it is the adjoining property, so I'd just like to know, is it okay that we did it for that one, but we don't want to do it for this one? I just want to know what the process
I
was.
don't
that we-
remember all the studies being done for the Journey Home as
Okay.
far as traffic and water flow.
It
but-
sure was this was no.
Okay, I'm asking that question.
There was,
So,
there was no planning commission review at all.
okay, that's
But
exactly,
because they said that it was because of the classification and helping people, it went through.
But don't you think housing now would help people, available housing? That's what the Journey Home was for.
well, I'm just asking this question because I'd like to know, just,
Fair question. I would offer this, as I've stated, I'm very much in favor of approving this project. However, I do believe, to the point made earlier, that this opening paragraph is overreaching and commits us to things we have not actually completed. And I,
Go ahead.
no, please, if I said something wrong, correct me.
Which paragraph is that? On page
The
what?
whereas clauses in the ordinance are findings that the council, that every governing body generally makes if they are going to approve the ordinance. If you don't feel that you can make those findings, then that might indicate that the appropriate action is to deny it. But all of that language, and Ms. Benson can talk about it a little bit more, it's all pretty standard findings that are made if a zoning action is going to be approved.
Yeah, no, I completely understand, and thanks for that clarification. I just don't believe that we've actually done that. But as I stated, I am very much in favor of the development. I think we owe the developer a more speedy resolution than he's received. And I think we should amend this document versus just kicking it down the curb.
So do you want to tell us how to amend it?
I am not educated enough to do that, no.
Alice, can you help on that?
while we're just touch base, and I wanted to bring up a couple of things that when you brought up about the threat of litigation, we've been threatened with litigation before, and I'll tell you what I take personal offense to. I take personal offense to members of this council going after other members of this council, threatening us to say that we're threatening to go after whistleblowers.
Oh, I didn't.
I got the floor. I'll let you. And so that, to me, I took that as a threat. So if we said anything, so I'm going to go back to what I said before, and then bringing up my stuff that's been on the market for 2 years, I could care less. It's public knowledge. But we need to remember the goal that we're here for is the business to the benefit of the town of Mineral citizens. Nothing you're going to do is going to have everybody 100% on board. Nothing you're going to do is going to make everybody happy. So there's, it's a lot of, not in my backyard. I've seen this thing go after. I don't want to look at gas pumps. Well, and this brings up another thing. It's about the PUD. Mr. Jarvis and I are the two people that are affected the most. It's 30 feet from my house. Okay? It was approved by the vice mayor at the time and her council and the mayor about the PUD. Do I want it in my backyard? I knew it when I came here. I bought it. I bought the house that I bought. But folks, we got to get to working together. I'm only here for 2 more months after tonight. I pity y'all if the animosity and the politics and the misbehavior and the just out and out ugliness that you've shown to each other and to members of the town. I've tried to keep my head down and stay out of this. I will say this, I'm ashamed of the behavior of this council. And I said, and like I said, I'm gonna be gone and a new council will be here and it just lays it all firmly in your laps. But with that being said remember, these people are your neighbors. Whether I agree with you, or I agree with Dave, or I agree with Snake or Pam or Ed, these are my neighbors. We need to look out for each other and be kind and civil. So, okay.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. As for the whistleblower, I wanted everyone to know that you are covered. It's not necessarily a threat. Because it seems that this town.
Okay, we gotta get back on the business.
Okay. I just replying to him on what this.
So we need to
I
talk
feel
about-
that, when it comes to the whistleblower, everyone needs to know they're protected, whether it is as a council member or as a resident.
Now let's get back to the
On the apartments thing on this.
Claire, that's not what we're here to discuss, but
this.
we're not here to discuss. We need to discuss.
Is it, which is that?
This is, again, the square footage is is wrong.
Okay.
So, I think, again, if Allison can give us like a David person and how we can work this around. Also, I'd like to see proper plot work, because again, when I'm looking at the square footage is wrong.
So when I look at this and look at the code sections,
She's on the kid. Sorry.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're here. I just got the text. So-
I'm here, thank you. Yeah.
so the lot area shall be at least 5 times the square footage of the floor area of the first or ground level of the dwelling or other building constructed on said lot. Floor area to be the total floor area of the floor on each story of such dwelling and any other building. When I look at the numbers, it says that, so basically, the lot needs to be 5 times the floor area of all combined floor areas. So the surveyor, engineer who sealed this has said that dwellings are 4,536 square feet. Units 1 through 6, and then units 7 through 9 are 2,268 square feet. It's total 6,804, 6,804. Okay. Then he's timesing that by 5 because that's the requirement of the code. So the minimum lot size is 34,000 square feet. Their minimum lot size for this particular site is over that. It's right, but that it is the ground floor.
Okay.
No, it's the ground floor, ground foundation.
According to my book, right here, my book, it states the lot shall be at least 5 times the square footage of the floor area of any such dwelling or other building constructed on said lot, the floor area to be the total area of the floor on each story.
Yeah, where is that? Because I haven't seen that.
It's in my book. This is where I'm saying we need to get these codes updated. I can't vote on something that is illegal.
So
Because I don't know what is the legal.
So this is the legal code. And the reason it's legal is because this is the code that was adopted by town council.
When? And why is it my book? And why is it not updated in a year?
Ask
It's
the
not
last
a
manager.
manager.
Ask the last
It
manager.
was brought to the attention of town council
Okay,
at the meeting.
again. According to the code of Virginia, we can't go by that. We have to go by what we have in this office. In my books, everyone's book on this council needs to be updated.
Can you read that section of the Code of Virginia?
So I have highlighted several ordinances related to zoning and subdivision of land, maybe including any clarification or recode or any codification or recodification of ordinances. However, no change, alteration, amendment, deletion, or of a substantive nature shall be made. No new material of substantive nature shall be added to such ordinances unless prior to the date of the adoption of the codification or recodification notice of such proposed changes, alterations, amendments, deletions, or additions shall be published as required by the Code of Virginia, and public hearings held thereon as provided by the Code of Virginia for adopting an amendment of zoning and subdivision ordinances. At least one copy of such codification or recodification or a complete set of printers proofs of the text therefore shall be made available for public inspection in the office of the clerk for the governing body in which the codification or recodification is proposed to be adopted. At least one copy of any clarification or code of any codification or recodification adopted hereunder, and at least one copy of every statement thereto shall be kept in the office of the clerk of the governing body and shall be there available for the public inspection during normal business hours. So we don't have an accurate code.
You do not, it sounds to me like if there's not one in here, but that's not what makes it the code of legal. This is the legal code of the town of Mineral, the one that was brought to your attention, that's in your packet tonight, is this section. It's the legal code section because it was adopted by town council. So I can't speak to why it is that it's not in and has not been distributed, but this is your code. And it was put before you tonight in this meeting. So the code that's being used is on this sheet that is talking about the text amendment playground. Section 425-15, the entire section is here in front of you. And that section states in C, the lot area shall be at least 5 times the square footage of the floor area of the first or ground level of the dwelling or other building constructed on said lot. The floor area to be the total floor area of the floor on each story of such dwelling and any other building.
Is that a signed copy and what date was it?
So, it was, I don't know when it was adopted, the town attorney could.
Because I would like to see that before any vote is made, because, I mean, as far as I know, it's not legal, because I mean, whoever was town manager at that time had to sign the paper and had to submit it. It's not submitted. This should be in the minutes of the meeting that, from which the town council adopted, but they don't know when it was done. I don't have, because I have some codes right here. I don't know, and I left them at home, but I have codes that were, found, but signed, and none of them state what you have written right there.
So let me just stop you. From the planning commission's point of view, we submitted that back in March of 2021.
But has it been submitted?
It was approved here the 21st of March. That's based on our notes from the planning commission when it was here. Now, once everybody voted, I understand what the issue is. Somehow the stamp of approval and the documentation didn't go into the official book based on, I guess it has to have an affidavit and then gets blessed and put in. And so that's what's screwing some of us up, because we deliberately were changing codes for future growth and thought that once we all voted, it was done until Mr. Greer got his book and he found that, well, there was nothing in there.
So that action of modifying a code is not what makes it legal. It's what happened on March 21st, 2021, when it was, the moment it was adopted by town council. That's what makes it legal.
Well, then-
Where's the paperwork though? The signed paperwork by the town manager at that time. Because I hate to say it's Toby.
Well, I understand.
Show me
I-
the documentation, because I like to see the documentation.
So do
Let me
we have
just jump
the
in.
minutes from March 21st, 2021? Do we have the minutes in this building? Of the
Can I,
Sure they did.
can I clarify something?
But back then, filing was, there was no,
The way it's supposed to work, the way it's supposed to work is that
yes.
it is passed and someone in the town staff is supposed to put it together and send it to general code. That's who keeps our manuals up to date that are right here. And also it needs to be made available to go online. And then there's that. So it's available to the public. But I sat here and heard council member talk about being so concerned about the public. And I admire that and I agree with it. And I haven't heard one adjoining property owner come here tonight to say that they approve of what's going on. And I don't feel that we advertise things right and encourage them to come and participate and then listen to them. So, you know, I don't know if anyone needs anger management that I keep hearing about. I'm saying that with public, we need to be transparent. You need to listen to the public and you need to encourage them to come out and then to take seriously what the adjoining property owners and people have to say. That just doesn't seem to happen in this room by the whole group that are here, and that's unfortunate.
Right.
We've had public hearings and people have had the opportunity to speak, so I'm not sure what you're saying is missing.
I don't know that either, because I mean.
General code, somebody sends it to general code, it's not getting.
So we're not making any progress.
No, we're not.
And we continue to debate this all night. We've had 2 votes that ended in a split council. I don't know that we can spend any more time debating this on the positives. My solution would be to amend the document and get it approved. I mean, I feel like that's the right thing to do for both the citizens and the developer. And I feel like we've had as many positive feedbacks as we've had negative feedback. Unfortunately, the positive didn't come to the meeting, the negative did. And I respect that, and that's exactly the way it works in almost every situation we have like this. But that all being said, we cannot continue to roundtable and debate this thing to death. We need some type of affirmative action so we can move forward.
Are you making a motion to?
I am not making a motion.
Go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt anyone, but I wanted to just offer one piece of information. And that is that it's not the town manager's signature on an ordinance or resolution. It's the town clerk's signature that certifies something as being authentic. And then the other question I had is, I'm assuming that Mr. Williams is there. I didn't know whether, in light of tonight's discussion, Mr. Williams might want to request a deferral.
Did you hear what she said?
She's asking if the applicant wants to request a deferral.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So what I'll say briefly is I keep on hearing about a rush. Push things through. And whether or not to vote on it, I'll leave up to the council. And its judgment, whether it's appropriate and right for adjudication tonight, but I think it's important to point out a couple dates. If you look at the drawings, the plats that are submitted, they have a date of February 21st, I believe. That was when we started providing checks and paying surveyors and draftsmen to look at these properties and
be best the finished product, so months before that. I can tell you that I had many contacts with the former town manager about these projects in 2021. I think I applied the first time in March or April. I want to probably say April, to be fair, for these applications in front of the planning commission, town council. And then I was asked to reapply on a different form. And I did that in June. It's October. And certainly not rushing anything. I haven't asked anybody to take any action. I haven't asked anybody to fast track this. What I've done is I've tried to be a good steward of my resources and of the town's resources and attempt to bring good tax basis and good development to the town of Mineral to fill a need. So I feel like it's been at least 9 months since I had a final plan ready to go. It's been applied for 7 months. It was reapplied for 5 months, 4.5 months. So I do take issue to the it's rushed. Why are we rushing this? But I'll defer to the council about whether it's appropriate not to move forward tonight. I certainly would like an answer one way or the other, because I will take our investment somewhere else, and that's not a threat. It's not. What it is, it's a reality that we have local people. And I was talking to Mr. Ware here. I'm sorry, sir. I've never talked to Mr. Gear personally until tonight. Shame on me. I think we spoke once on the phone a couple months ago about the condition of the property, to be fair. I did go see Ms. Thomas, and I walked around her neighborhood and around her woods with her and heard her concerns, and we're prepared to address those concerns. Is it the Clemens, I believe, on the corner? I didn't get the chance to see them in person, but I did go try to see them in person, left them a note. And then I went and called them, and we talked on the phone for 45 minutes, maybe not quite an hour. And they had some really fair concerns too. And I'm very confident to say that the conditions that are developed by Ms. Fincham address the concerns of everybody I've spoken to. But again, it's not my prerogative of whether or not to ask to move this forward or not tonight. I leave it to the town council. I think it's a good plan. I think it's a fair plan. I think it's a plan that is good for the town and good for the citizens. And you know, I get called a developer, and I was joking just a second ago, sitting out here. I don't know whether to be honored or upset. I'm not a developer. I'm Tori Williams. I grew up in this county. I practiced law at 202 West Main Street. If you ever need something or just want to come in and say hi, I'm between the post office and the Wells Fargo. I'm not an out-of-town developer. Try to do good projects that are good for the community. So thank you for your time tonight, last time, the last 3 or 4 times. I understand these decisions are hard. And maybe they don't bring out the best in us at all times. However, having said that, I'll defer to the council whether I have to move forward or defer.
So my proposal for this paragraph is that it states that whereas the Mineral Town Council finds that the request for a conditional use permit by GWI Properties LLC and MIL Investments for multifamily dwellings on tax maps 43B2, 2, 6, 1, lots 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 43B2, 1, 9 will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare. And it is in accordance with the comprehensive plan for the town of Mineral. Basically, you're taking out everything from after the word welfare on line 4, you're striking through everything from there down to in accordance with the comprehensive plan for the town of Mineral.
Okay, that's on that tangent.
I would offer that we could, begin the strike at the word will after neighborhood.
That on page 4.
I'm sorry, yes, page 4, neighborhood comma, will strike from there all the way down to districts. Comma. Then I further offer that item 9 of the same ordinance. It says, a recreational playground must be established on or off premise prior to approval of zoning and building permits. I would offer that this should be changed to read on premise.
Anything else? Is that a motion?
We haven't finished discussion, I haven't been to comment. But I'm not cutting in on Dave.
No, I'm done.
So my question is, are we still being asked to say, whereas the Mineral Town Council has conducted a duly advertised public hearing? There was no advertisement of tonight's meeting out on the board up until at least 3 o'clock this afternoon, if it ever did go up. And the agenda has changed 3 times since Friday. And we got to review this as a council tonight. But how did the adjoining property owners get a chance to review what was proposed tonight? They didn't, in my opinion. So
The only
you
part of
want
the
me
agenda,
to say, do the advertised public hearing? And I never agreed with that in September, and I don't now. So again, I repeat, please, Mr. Williams, I don't, just hear me. I don't say that he rushed anything. Somebody here or this group rushed it. And they don't even advertise, whoever it is, don't even advertise on our public wall or on the town's website that we have a meeting tonight. It's nowhere to be found, to my knowledge. How can we say we have included the public and encouraged the public to be involved and give them the adjoining property a chance to know what they came to talk about, if the stuff is still being produced tonight and not out there for them to see? I have an objection, but I'm glad to see that a lot of the other stuff was removed that certainly was not studied.
any more discussion?
Madam. Was this posted? Was it posted at the, for the first public hearing? Was this ever posted on the board outside?
I can't answer that because I don't normally do that.
Posted outside, what do you mean?
On the bulletin board.
It's a bulletin board. From what I've heard from town residents, no, it has not, it was not.
I'll go right now.
Well, that, you mean a month ago when we had the public hearing?
It was done a month ago, but anytime since then, nothing's not about me.
Let's see, so. I would ask the town attorney if, posting it initially is good enough.
Did you hear that, Andrea?
Yeah, my question is posting what initially enough?
the ordinance.
Posting the public hearing.
Well, we did put at the last meeting, we did state for everybody here that it would be continued and we gave the date.
Right, so.
But what is the October 11th? Posted?
The initial meeting, I think it was stated that the initial meeting was posted. The beginning of the public hearing was posted on the
And
bulletin.
when was that, talking about September?
First meeting wasn't.
I mean, every monthly meeting is supposed to be posted.
Right.
Yes, I feel like they both were posted, but I don't know about today.
So who posted them?
Lisa and Patty normally do that. But I'd have to ask them if they did it today. So her question is if it was, your question was if they were posted for the October meeting, Allison, is that right?
If it's okay just to post for the September meeting. Since it was continued. I don't know the answer to that.
So we don't know if the October 11th meeting or the September meeting were posted, correct?
Correct.
I mean,
No, the October 11th meeting is up now. I don't know when it went up. And tonight's meeting was posted after sometime this afternoon. But I don't know what time.
There is one there now.
There is.
Yeah,
The date meeting does not need to be posted, although it should be, every meeting should be posted. I mean, in the strict letter of the law, it does not need to be posted because it was recessed and reconvened. However, every monthly meeting should be properly posted.
okay, so October was definitely because it's still up there. September, normally they post the regular monthly meetings. The special meetings, I can't.
Well, see, that's something again that the clerk should certify, to be able to certify.
Okay, well, we know the 11th is posted because it's still there.
And what about on the website? No, it was not posted. I checked this afternoon. So it was not posted on the website.
Today's or October 11th. Today's was not posted.
October 11th. I didn't see anything up there either about that.
Does it have to be put on the website?
The notice of a meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, where do we go now?
So my recommendation is to defer to the December, to your December meeting. I don't know the date, sorry. December. I'm saying then you get stuck on the date.
And what are we deferring for?
For proper advertising of this, for proper posting. You need to post it on the website and on the bulletin board. December 12th.
And so we don't have time to do it for the November meeting.
I'm sorry. Yes, for the November meeting, sorry. Yep.
I would move that we defer this discussion to the November regular November town council meeting, and that we request staff to immediately post notice of this agenda item to be included on that posting.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? With that motion, can we make that effective for both
Yes, the intent is for one C and one D. Yeah.
Right, so it's cool. But, so are closing public hearings on both of those items then? I guess you would close the public hearing before you would vote on the request.
Yeah, I thought we already closed the public hearing. So yeah, we'll close the public hearing.
So that was closing it on the first one. The public hearing is still open for the second request.
I'll say something, please. I've missed a little bit of what just happened, but we videotaped it. This meeting never should have been held. The law says you have to post notice of this meeting, of any special meeting, of any emergency meeting, or any continuing meeting on the town's website, if you have one. You don't have to have a website, but if you do, it has to be posted. It also says you have to post it outside of the clerk or the chief administrative officer's office, and you have to post it in one other place around town where such notices are generally posted and people will look, maybe you would think like at the post office. This meeting should not be going on. There's a few members of the public here, but it wasn't on the website. It wasn't on that bulletin board until 3 o'clock. And to be honest, I don't need to surprise you all or we're gonna work this out more on Thursday. Andrew's gonna be getting served with this. If you want to take a look at it, I have nothing to hide. Not trying to be tricky or.
Is this their copy?
No, you're gonna get served by Andrew will be served by a deputy. That's a courtesy copy from me to you. But the judge is gonna help us decide all of this on Thursday. Starting on Thursday.
Are you familiar with this, Andrea?
I'm sorry.
I'm speaking to the attorney. Andrea,
Yes, ma'am.
you're familiar with this?
I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I heard the conversation, but I'm not familiar
I
with
just filed it today.
what you're.
You're gonna get served with it as soon as possible, potentially tomorrow. And then the date in court at the General District Court is Thursday at 12:30. This Thursday at 12:30.
So I can email you the information he just gave me. Okay.
Madam Mayor, where are we on agenda?
Okay, we're at the public hearing.
Austin started to make a motion about deferring, and then I asked the question about public hearings, and then, I don't know, someone from the public got up and spoke, and now there's something about, well, I mean.
Okay, so Chris gave us a lawsuit when he got up and spoke for public speaking for the second group of,
I'm not asking for any money. I'm not suing anybody.
okay.
It's a petition for the court for you guys to do what's right.
So David, are you also deferring the public hearing till the November meeting, or do we continue?
Could you please make a motion on these items individually?
Let me ask a question of the town attorney. Since this was not posted properly, do you want this town council to continue this public hearing until November 8th? Or do you want these motions to be,
I don't know what council wants to do.
We don't know either.
I don't know which direction they want to go in.
So what does council want to do?
The next council meeting is what, Monday, November 7th?
No,
Couldn't be there.
no, it'd be
That's-
14. It's like the second,
14th.
yeah.
You're right, I'm sorry. I'm tired. I want the meeting over. So Monday, November 14th.
yes.
I think in light of everything we've heard, I think my motion still stands. I think we need to defer until the next council meeting. And I think we need to give the public a chance to speak on item 1D. I
One
think
B has already been voted on.
D is in David.
Oh, B, okay. All right, but aren't you talking about item 1C right now?
Right, I am suggesting now, my motion is specifically to defer item 1C until November 14th regular council meeting.
And is the public hearing open or closed?
For 1C, did we close it already for 1C? For 1C, it is closed.
Okay, any discussion on that?
But I don't even have a second, that's just.
No, Snake seconded.
Oh, did he? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you say. My apologies.
Sorry, I took a bathroom break. Make that a motion.
The motion of decision on item 1C until November.
Any discussion? We'll do roll call, Tommy,
Yes.
Roy,
Yeah.
Edward, QB.
Did I hear the public hearing is kept open or closed?
No, it's closed.
For 1C, we haven't got 1D.
Oh. I'll vote no.
David Lawson,
Yes.
Blair. Ed Jarvis.
Yes.
Okay. Nate.
My second motion would be that we continue item 1D until the November 14th regular council meeting, and that the I'm sorry, was there a comment there? And,
No.
and that the public hearing remain open.
Is there a second to that?
Yes.
Any discussion? But I'll do a roll call, let's see, Tommy,
Yes.
Roy McGee,
Yeah.
Ed QB,
No.
David Lawson,
Yes.
Blair. Jarvis,
Yes.
okay. So, the only thing left is broadband. And I just need a motion to allow Dominion to run the broadband through town.
I motion that we allow Dominion to run the broadband through town.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Blair. Ed Jarvis.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Cuby.
Yes.
McGee.
Yes.
Run it.
Yes.
And we all finally agreed.
That this next one will get more.
What?
Motion for adjournment.
Yeah.
Second.
Tommy,
Yes.
adjourn, Snake.
Yes.
Cuby.
Yes. Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
All the stuff's been turned over to Dominion. All the polls have been turned over to Dominion. They still haven't put some light over on Albemarle yet either. And I have no word on when they're gonna pull the poll. Seven, all told. Well, this. And I have no idea when they're gonna take the other thing out.
I think.
We've sent it to them because I sat here while Patty did it. Make sure they got it.
I think it's unrealistic.
Sir?
He was talking to me, but I couldn't. I mean, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that people get emotional because it's important and see, it's important to us and
I don't mind them getting emotional. What I mind is backbiting, name calling and screaming.
that's just adults feelings. But I mean, seriously, and Troy he's a grown man. He knows how business runs.
Oh, no.
So I don't worry about him. He can come up with this anytime he wants.
No, no.
But public did not know anything about any of this in September. That's not proper.
I agree with you.
So Tommy,
A little nervous about me.
All right.
So let me know, I'll help you out.
tell us when we'll be staying.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I had to say, I'm done with it here. I'm done with screaming and yelling and everything.
Well, it's splitting everything off. This is so ridiculous.
So how can?
Excuse me a second. Let me just make sure he knows.
Well, so Mr. Big Mac Blair was gonna help me. I started diligently.
So
Like a month's meeting, go online, go over each week.
typically the code that was called into question.
Was that 21?
I wanted clarification.
For
What I was asking.
notes.
Exactly.
Like the code, you send it to you, but the lawyer gets.
I called the attorney and asked her if she would have to run a record of all the ordinances, so perhaps rather than me going through so much paperwork to get them, they would have them all with me.
I can pull up every file that we've worked on.
Right, well, that would be help. I'm not available until Thursday, and now this tells me I gotta be in court on Thursday. Only news what's gonna happen. It's approved, that's.
I don't.
Whatever I else was doing.
I don't have your email.
Do you, oh, you don't? Okay. Can you get your planning commissioners here for the next meeting, the November town council meeting on November 14th?
Let me write my notes.
Like, does it aggravate you as much as us?
That we do it properly and going to, and we immediately both said the same thing. It has to be re-advertised. We need to start this.
God help us.
So here's, here's we need, it's like a plan and procedure map that says, we're gonna do something. We're supposed to do it, they checked off on it, because we have no idea.
The freaking, she's not worried about Russian. Damn man approved a escort in February. There's all this crap piled up on the desk that's not been addressed. So I said, I'm taking care of it. That's when I called a zoning person. Ask people. But getting the stuff done. Now go back to 2016. The book's not updated.
How do
Okay,
we
so
end this?
you all need to